within minutes of that, Mehbooba Mufti responded during her speech. She said, there are some people who want to change the status quo in Kashmir. That must never be allowed to happen. We must all rally together. Our identity is under threat. Farooq Abdullah is like my father. I will team up with him. I will fight all these forces. Kashmir is on one side and the rest of India will be on the other. I don't know why Mehbooba Mufti is getting so nervous at the prospect of the integration of Kashmir. Now, before I get into the specifics, I am also horrified today. Devinder Rana of the National Conference, their provincial president, joining us tonight. General G.D. Bakshi, Gaurav Arya, Nalin Kohli of the BJP, RSN Singh, Sabha Naqvi, David Devdas and Irfan Hafiz Loan. Welcome to the debate and happy Independence Day. I do not understand today, first of all, why Omar Abdullah has to tweet without thinking. Devinder Rana. That too on Independence Day. Why is he constantly doing a hit and run on Twitter? On Independence Day, I think you must apologize on behalf of your leader for the parallel he drew between terrorists and security forces. Immediately, as soon as the Prime Minister's speech was going on, he said, the Prime Minister said, the Kashmir issue will not be resolved by abuse and bullets. You may have heard that as well, Nalin Kohli. And then he went on to say that I guess that covers both sides, terrorists and security forces. So Omar Abdullah, Nalin Kohli, on India's Independence Day says that terrorists abuse and security forces abuse. And terrorists use bullets against the people and security forces use bullets against the people. I could have thought of nothing more demeaning, more insulting, more insensitive, Devinder Rana, than what Omar Abdullah put out. Maybe on this Independence Day you want to start with a clarification about what he said. Mr. Rana.
First and foremost, to your readers and to all of you, a very happy Independence Day and happy Maha Janmashtami.
Yes. Same to you.
To set the preamble right, we welcome the statement of the Honorable Prime Minister from the ramparts of the Red Fort. This, we hope and pray, becomes a game changer, and we see the footprints of the statement of the Honorable Prime Minister on the ground, and peace and prosperity returns to our Jammu and Kashmir. Secondly, we strongly believe that terrorism has no place in a civilized society. Coming to what Mr. Omar Abdullah has said, it is grossly misrepresented, because I think the lesson has also to be taken from the Prime Minister's speech by the hawks. I'm coming to that. Hawks who always are jingoistic and give a war cry. Having said that, Mr. Omar Abdullah, what he said is a continuity of what the Honorable Prime Minister said. We don't want the Goli in Jammu and Kashmir. We want no Goli. We just don't want any Goli. Any Goli is not required in Jammu and Kashmir. We want no violence.
Why did he equate security forces, Gaurav Arya? I think you're missing the real point. He equated security forces, sir, with terrorists. I need an explanation on that.
There's no question of equating.
Of course he did. Did I read the wrong tweet?
Just let me complete.
Did I read the wrong tweet? Nalin Kohli, I'll read the tweet again and then you can understand that. He said, actually, he said, sir, I'm sorry. He said that actually he said, quoting the Prime Minister, he said, actually the Prime Minister said, the Kashmir issue will not be resolved by abuse and bullets. I guess that covers both sides, terrorists and the security forces. That was the tweet. There is no possibility of misinterpretation.
We hope and pray.
Nalin Kohli, no, I'm sorry. Yes. Let's get Nalin Kohli to look at it.
No, wait a minute.
I see it with clarity. I don't see it with the blinkered eyes that you do, sir. Nalin Kohli, do you see any ambiguity in what he put out in that tweet?
I have to give you the clarity.
Mr.
We don't want any bullets. I give you the clarity.
I'll come to 35A and 370 as well, sir. Don't worry. Let's deal with this tweet first. To start with, let's start with the tweet.
We don't want it to be a war zone.
To start with, let's start with the tweet. Let's start by understanding the tweet. There is, sir, a difference between a terrorist and an Indian security personnel.
Mr. Goswami,
a terrorist is a man with a gun
to start with,
who kills Kashmiris. A security force personnel is a man who wears the flag on his uniform to defend the blood of Indians, including every Kashmiri.
We are not for the terrorists. We are not for the terrorists, Mr. Goswami.
Null and Kohli.
We are not for the terrorists.
Null and Kohli. Let's get the clarification. And I'll move on.
No place in a civilized society. I say it.
Mr. Goswami.
Yes,
Mr.
Null and Kohli,
Rana,
please. Null and Kohli.
May I, Mr. Rana? May I, Mr. Rana? Mr. Rana. Let's first look at what the Honorable Prime Minister has said. That's the complete picture. In terms of it, this message, which is a very statesman-like message, is making it clear that the battle or whatever is the cycle of violence that takes place in Jammu and Kashmir, it is perpetrated by terrorists, by those who are working in tandem with people across the border to somehow disrupt peace, interfere in the progress of Jammu and Kashmir, and have destroyed that phrase of it being paradise on earth. Our fight against those is going to continue, will continue, it has to continue. But on the other side are the people of Jammu and Kashmir who suffer. And they are the victims of this violence, of this situation. Our fight is not with them. They as Indian citizens deserve our love and affection as we deserve of them, because we are all Indian citizens. That's the clear message. Now, when Mr. Omar Abdullah came out with his first tweet, either it is terribly inappropriately worded and he has not clarified it, but if you look at it, it seems to equate unequivocally the terrorist and the security forces by drawing a commonality of the bullet. Now, the security forces or the army are not there because of choice. They are there in the national interest to stop the war which is unleashed onto us by Pakistan using terrorists and other local elements. So therefore, they are there on the call of duty. They are not there for any other reason, and we salute them, along with the security forces and the police men of Jammu and Kashmir who shoulder to shoulder are fighting this menace. But it seems that there was a furor, and Mr. Omar Abdullah thereafter comes up with a series of tweets
which
then try to make it seem that yes, I am in support of what the Honorable Prime Minister has said.
Unfortunate.
But they came after a gap. So the first tweet is something that is incorrect, that is condemnable, but if you look at it in the totality, he thereafter is coming on the
you
side
must
and
apologize.
saying we appreciate the Prime Minister.
Mr. Rana,
that's the factual position.
Mr. Rana, you must apologize. Your party leader equated terrorists with our brave and courageous security personnel. You must, will you or will you not apologize? Gaurav Arya, should he apologize to our security personnel for the tweets of Omar? Who equate our security forces with the very terrorist elements they fight and defend the nation against? Should he not apologize for that, Gaurav Arya?
Arnab,
is that too much to ask Devendra Rana to do?
Absolutely, Arnab. Arnab, I have a question for Mr. Rana here.
Yes, go on.
Rana Sahab, you know, according to Omar Abdullah, he says, I hope it applies to both the security forces and the terrorists. What do you want us to do? Do you want us to stop shooting terrorists? And how dare Omar Abdullah tweet such a message? What does he want to say? Is he clear in his own mind what he has to say? He is equating security forces who die for the people of Kashmir to defend the people of Kashmir. Do you think anybody is happy being posted there in Kashmir fighting terrorists?
You should apologize for it, Mr. Rana. Honestly, why doesn't Omar Abdullah tell us whether it was the enemy army and Pakistan-funded terrorists who violated the ceasefire at Chapargala today? Or was it the security force personnel steadfastly guarding the border and saving every Kashmiri from that firing? I mean, I can't let you get away with that, Devendra Rana. Can we? GD Bakshi, should Devendra Rana not issue an apology?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Was it the terror-sponsored Pakistan or security forces that injured a woman at Namla in Uri today, GD Bakshi? In Mr. Abdullah's book, since he's made that comparison, on Independence Day, you make a comparison between our security forces and terrorists.
Absolutely.
There has to be a limit to playing to the gallery.
Can I respond? Can I respond?
No, GD Bakshi wants to say something to you, sir. You must apologize on TV tonight. Yes, GD Bakshi.
Excuse me. I mean, there are others on the debate too. Excuse me. Arnab, the attempt to give a moral equivalence between the terrorists and the security forces is what is abominable. It is reprehensible. How can a responsible leader, a former chief minister, provide a moral equivalence between the security forces trying to defend the people of Jammu and Kashmir and the terrorists who are out on a murderous spree, killing the pilgrims, killing the innocents, you know, and killing whosoever they can shoot at. How do you justify this moral equivalence?
And why was it done,
such a
Devendra
bleak statements? It is tweet before you think.
And why was it done?
And then you start giving a whole series of explanatory tweets.
No. And why was it done?
I think a little bit of contrition is called for.
No. Why was it done? Will Omar Abdullah tell us, Devendra Rana, with what nerve is he sitting on Indian soil, abusing the country's security personnel for his petty politics, and all of it knowing very well, knowing the answer to this question. And the question is this: was it terrorists or the army that shot dead National Conference leader Farooq Ahmad Zargar in Srinagar in the December of 2004? Tell me, Devendra Rana. If you want me to be straight, I'll ask you, was it terrorists or security personnel who decamped with 6 weapons of the security guards of National Conference Bloc President A.R. Khande in Dawar Hanjipura in Kulgam last January? No, you have to come to the core, Devendra Rana. Why was a comparison drawn between terrorists and security forces by the National Conference
leader? Let me respond at least. I'm only having a barrage of questions, but nobody is allowing me to respond.
I'm not stopping you, sir.
Do I have the freedom to respond?
Yes, you do, sir. It's an independent country.
Can you give me a minute of patience?
You do.
Thank you, sir. Number one, we are against terrorism and terrorists. Number one. Number two, Mr. Abdullah has not, and I say not, equated the terrorists with the security forces. Number three, I appeal to you, through you, to all on the panel, that let us take it forward from the statesmanly statement of the Honorable Prime Minister and not vitiate the atmosphere. Let us move forward. Let us not get into jingoistic rhetoric. Let us not get into a jingoistic rhetoric. We see a lot of light ahead of this statement. Let us take his statement, the intent of his statement forward, and let us together work, all of us, rise above our stated positions.
Sir, that's a nice lecture.
Rise above our philosophies.